What up, what up, what up? You already know. So, I'm going to sort of get political with you real quick. Of course, a lot of you guys know that I'm anti-government, so this isn't really a political agenda. I don't want to empower the state to do my bidding, right? But here's the thing. I'm against putting up a wall on the fucking border of Mexico and Canada. I'm against it. If you are new to my channel, understand that I made a video back in the past when Donald Trump was first said that he was going to build a wall. The first thing I thought of was, is that to keep us in or to keep them out? I don't get it. You know, like, you can talk whatever you want to talk about. It doesn't mean that's what it is. So yeah, let's talk about that stupid wall. Before I dive into the negative aspects of why I think that's negative, let's dive into where it can be applicable and correct. Okay? So, I buy a piece of property. Got a house, got my land. I know exactly where my border to my land is. And if I wanted to put up a wall, I can. I'm 100% for property rights. 100% for property rights. 100 trillion %. Probably more than you. Yeah, you. But seriously, I just came from El Paso, Texas, and where I was literally across the street is Mexico, and the border patrol's all there. You know, even on the way down south to El Paso, Texas, I was faced with tons of border patrol, tons of army type personnel, tons of tanks with turrets mounted, you know, like stuff like this, right? Like legit, like war area type shit. Just getting down into El Paso. Go down to El Paso, seems normal, nothing's out of the ordinary. It's just it's like little Mexico, right? But then you look across the street from El Paso to across basically the street, and I'm seeing Mexico. And I'm seeing the houses in Mexico, and it looks very, very poor. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that Mexico needs to help their citizens more or whatever. This is what I'm saying. They're poor. You look right here to the same fucking people across the street that are in El Paso. Same fucking people. Very nice. Even the cholos are fucking nice. They're all fucking nice. I go up to the shipper, the girl barely speaks a lick of English. Very fucking friendly. Everyone's fucking nice. Everyone's trying to make a buck. In reasonable, legal terms, right? Everyone's trying to make some money. That's what I'm doing. What's the difference? Here's the difference. You've been brainwashed from what you saw on TV about Mexicans coming in, therefore criminals. Okay. Let's look at it logically now. If I lived in New York City, tons of motherfucking people, all different types of people, from criminals to businessmen to whoever, right? Tons of different fucking types of people, right? It seems to me when you have a higher population that the chance of you running past a criminal or being involved in in an altercation with a criminal skyrockets when there's more people, right? But if you were to let's say you were going to East Bumfuck fucking Kansas, there ain't shit around, nobody. Every 3 or 4 miles, you might maybe see somebody who lives there, right? Just nobody. What's the chances of a criminal getting you there? Very unlikely. Because A, there's no one to scam out there if you're a criminal. So your profession doesn't work out there. Your profession works when you're around lots and lots of people. Now let's get that straight. Go to New York City, tons of criminals. But if you truly see how many people are being criminals in New York City, like, you might be scared of New York City because you hear about crime or murder rates, right? You hear about that, right? But it's so small on the spectrum in terms of the population. I don't know what the numbers are, but we can all agree that it's not 50% of the population committing crime, right? It's a very, very, very few amount of people per capita. So, again, go to East Bumfuck, no crime, or essentially no crime. Go into a bigger town, maybe that town has 800 people, not much crime. You go to a town with 10,000 people, crime starts going up. But it's per capita, right? If you judge how many people in total, not per capita, but in total, commit crimes in Chicago versus how many people in East Bumfuck, it doesn't make sense. Nothing adds up if you're doing it per person. But if you're doing it per capita, it could be pretty damn close, or at least within 5%, right? So let's say 4% of people in Chicago commit crimes, and then you go to a population of 10,000, and that might be 2% of people in that town commit crimes. So 1 out of every 50 people committed a crime, right? So small. Now, this is the argument for the wall, or for immigration, or the laws on immigration. The argument is, if you bring in Mexicans, well, they don't have the same types of culture as us. They don't have the same... Now, mind you, let's get that one right out of the fucking bucket. Looking right across the street to Mexico, same motherfucking people, everyone enjoying life because they made it to the sunshine. All right? They made it to a land where they have more potential, more prosperity than dealing with government, dealing with the mafia, dealing with whoever they're dealing with a poor economy, a low IQ population. Then boom, they're if that person's 80 IQ, just got into an average of a 90 to 95 population, right? So their chances of making good use of the higher IQ type of economy, type of prosperity is a lot higher than if everyone where you came from 70 IQ and you're 80, right? It might seem like, okay, now you have the chances of being a doctor or something like that, but in terms of your economy isn't going to be as good because no one's putting money back into the system because you're all poor just trying to fucking hold on. Am I right? Now, they say culture, they say, there isn't a law where adults can't fuck kids or some shit, right? That's like one of the major concerns that, you might get a 19-year-old boy, Mexican boy, that comes into America and rapes a 13-year-old girl because that's part of their culture or some shit. Okay, go to El Paso. I see little fucking girls walking out everywhere, right? They're not scared of getting raped, right? It's just, this nonsense is a small, significant portion of the population. And just because of their skin color or their racial identity or where they came from in country, changes that every fucking race has their crazies, right? There's some fucking ghetto-ass black dudes that don't give a fuck about your age and will rape you. There's some fucking white-ass trash that don't give a fuck about your age, but you're worried about a Mexican dude from Mexico? Like, all the races have their goods and bads, right? And it's very close to the same significance, especially more in terms of IQ. If your IQ's around 120, chances of you doing anything violent or crime-oriented is going to go down. If you have a low IQ, let's say 75, chances of you committing crime is much higher. Or doing something like rape or murder or something like that is much higher. Now, you can be 70 IQ, let's say, as a white person or even an Oriental. You can have 70 IQ as a Mexican. You can have 70 IQ. Doesn't matter. Every race has high IQ and low IQ. Every race. And what we see is the implementation of low IQ into our country tend to do a lot better in our country. Right? Do less harm to others because they're grateful for the change. Now what we see, and this is another argument from for pro-immigration laws is that when immigrants come here, illegally, legally, doesn't matter, they do pretty well, right? Mexicans, we'll stick with Mexicans, right? Mexican immigrants do pretty damn well in terms of integrating, in terms of being able to do well, right? Do well and put those resources back. But the next generation, so they have offspring, the next generation isn't as hardworking because now they are not as motivated because they're already born in a first world country. And on top of that, they have the same IQ as the parents, or similar IQs as the parents. So when the parents came over here at low IQ, they were still motivated and still driven to have a better life and to be more prosperous in their life and to give their kids a better life, etc., right? And then what happens is they have offspring, and it goes back to that meme, right? Good men good men create good times create weak men, whatever that thing is, right? You've heard that shit before, right? And with that being the case, well, the offspring is just going to get worse and worse because of, especially when the government gets involved, in government welfare, subsidies, things like that tend to hold them down. So they're actually not going to be that much relevant or positive into our culture the next generation. I'm going to debunk that real quick, even though that is true. But what I'm going to say is why it doesn't fucking affect you. Or what you should actually look out for as the real problem to this. Right? And I already said it, but we're going to reiterate it. The real problem with this isn't that we need laws saying that immigrants can't come in. That's not the problem. Alright, my shit's shaking, sorry. I don't know why it's shaking. Road work. But the real problem is not that we need more government laws, not that we need to make stricter immigration laws. That doesn't change anything. What changes the people that are here is those damn fucking welfare subsidies. Those damn handouts that are from a point of a gun from a government, where a government says, hey, I'm the moral, legal high ground, and I'm here to steal your money, and you better cooperate, or else we're going to put you in jail. You don't cooperate with that, then we're going to have to kill you. And we don't care, because one way or the motherfucking other, we're going to make you an obedient slave. I know I probably lost a few people there. But the problem is government. The government's getting involved. That's the problem. Let's go to the next one. People say immigrants come in and then they take their hard-earned money and they go spend it back in Mexico. Let me tell you a little secret. I'm working for Ukrainians right now. And the way that I got this job was that the truck drivers, two of them, that had this OTR position, they're Ukrainian as well. Most of the people in my company are Ukrainian. And they only fuck with Ukrainians, or I guess white people if you want to play that card. But I'm not Ukrainian. But point is, work for Ukrainians. Two of the drivers, they come to our country, United States, drive for 3 months with this company that I'm working for now. They make a killing in money. I don't have the exact figures, but we're looking at, what's 3 months? 30 grand? 10 grand a month or something? They make their 30 grand, tax, they got to pay taxes at the end of the year, but 30 grand, and then they go back to Ukraine for 6 months. They go back to Ukraine and they spend all that money. Then they come back for 3 more months, make that 30 grand again or whatever it is, right? That's how I got this job. Now, who's bitching about that? Ukrainians are fine. Mexicans aren't. When we can easily see that the culture down in southern Texas, or southern Florida or whatever like that are full of Mexicans or Cubans or Hispanic people in our country right now. They're already, quote unquote, flooded in, you scared fucking weirdos. They're already here. And if they wanted to spend that money and bring it back to Mexico, I personally don't have a problem with that. I would rather see money not getting taxed. Because A, it's all being thrown away anyways to the government. 50% of your earnings get thrown away to the government. You don't even fucking bat an eye on that one. You'll fucking boom, boom up your fucking ass all day long, taking it like a taxpayer, but you're scared that a very small minority of Mexicans might bring it back to fucking Mexico for their family. I'm more about that shit. I care more about that shit than being happy to give my money to a government that does nothing but steal from me by the end of a gun. Shit, if I found a good opportunity in Mexico, and for some reason Mexico is the land of the free and we're in an opposite scenario here, I would love to make money in Mexico and then come up here and feed my family. Make sure that the mortgage is paid off up here. To make sure that my family's doing well and all that stuff, because there's a better opportunity. Right? You're worried about them taking money, but the Ukraine guy, you don't care? You don't care about the government stealing half your money? 40% in taxes, then another 10% in your state tax when you purchase something? You don't give a fuck about that. That's what you should be bitching about. Again, culture, all these problems that you're seeing, all derive from the problem is government. Now let's go back to property rights. You think as a collective, you think you're part of the United States government, but you're not. As George Carlin once said, there's one big fucking club, and you're not in it. The ones who truly own this country. Big club, you're not in it. Unless you can prove to me you're in this club called United States of America. You might live in the lines, but you're not in the club, buddy. You're not in the club. No matter what the TV's teaching you, doesn't put you in a club. Oh yeah, the guy in TV says that I have choice. You're fucking delusional. Now, pro-property rights. If I had a piece of property, if somebody steps on that property, I am going to defend myself. Right? I am going to make sure that whoever it is understands that that is a threat and they need immediate evacuation, or at least telling me why they're there. Even if I don't give a fuck if it's a Jehovah's Witness. You step foot on my property, you are a threat. I don't care who you are. I don't care how nice your smile is or what kind of book you're bringing to teach me about. I don't give a fuck about that. You come into my property, that is a threat. Straight up. So I'm 100% for property rights. But Mexico's wall, or should I say United States wall, because they're the ones, I don't even know who's paying for it or whatever. But the point is, whose property is that? Not yours. So why you fucking care? Oh, there's going to be more Mexicans. Okay? That's fine. Now, if I was to just walk from, let's just say my house down the street, what we usually do is we stay off other people's property because those people have purchased their property. They purchased it through the product of their labor. They worked hard for that property. They own it. It's their safe haven. I don't want to be a threat on their property. So, I go around their property and I go up to the store or whatever else I'm trying to do, which doesn't have barriers because they want the business of the population of the community. So I avoid other people's property, right? Because I see it as a direct threat. And it is. So why are we stopping them from coming in here? The Mexicans from coming in here? Or us going into Mexico? Could it be that the United States are trying to keep their land theirs? Could it be that the government owns the land? Partially right. But that is what they're trying to protect. You know what they're truly trying to protect? The interests of corporations, but more importantly, the interests of banks. Whoa, let's talk about it. So, corporations want to buy up the land as well. Corporations do not own the land. Now, you might be dumb enough to believe that in today's era, when you put money on a house or on a piece of land and you pay for it outright with cash, that you own a piece of land or house, piece of property. No, you don't. Okay? You don't. You end up getting something called a deed. You know what a deed is? That means you, and it'll say it right on your deed, you are, for example, if you're in the United States, the deed says through the Federal Reserve banks, they will allow you privilege to be the tenant of that property. In Canada, you get a deed that says they granted you a privilege to become the tenant of that property via the Bank of Canada. You don't own that property, just like that corporation doesn't own that property. Who owns that property? Not the government, but the government enforces legislation, enforces collateral, and I'll talk in a second, real quick. Government enforces you to pay the money to them through property taxes. Who owns the land? It's not the government. It's not you. It's not the corporations. It's the banks. 1913, Federal Reserve. Once upon a time, there was no taxes. Oh my God, really? That existed? Then how was there roads? There was roads. There wasn't highways at the time, but there were roads. 1913. Federal Reserve comes into play. With that came all types of taxes. So, they came out with this thing called a birth certificate, which meant that you were born in this country and that you have citizenship. Birth certificate. Now, don't get this confused with what was before that, which is called a certificate of live birth. It's a different certificate. The birth certificate is just like any other certificate. If you know what a certificate is, it just shows when something was born, birthed. So this could be products, right? And this is where tariffs coming from and a lot of shit like that. Products. So you just created a product, it gets a birth, or it gets a certificate stamp of when that product was born. So then, United States, I created this product and now I'm shipping it to Thailand. Thailand's going to see that, know when it was born, when the product was birthed. They have other similar things like that as well. But they have it for humans. It's called a birth certificate that was created 100 years ago. Now, what they did was, since the government has a bunch of debt. I did want to save this, and I'm going to go more in depth with this in a different video. The government is in debt to the banks because the banks all of a sudden became the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve was a central bank system that came from Britain. Achoo. Oh, wait. Oh, no. Seriously. Come on. You thought 1776 was it? Nope. The British just had to realize, whoa, they're going to fight for their land. They're going to fight for this, that, and the third. Let's slip something under the radar. Started off with that little bit of tax and everyone revolted. Let's just keep softening them up. Soften them up. Soften them up. For hundreds of years. Civil War. All these different types of events. Now they've realized we got to slip under the radar. 1913 it happened. United States Treasury money, or the United States money, this is money from the government of the United States, was the money of use up until 1913. Then it became something called a Federal Reserve notes. This note, and I know what you guys might be thinking I'm going off topic, but this is very relevant. That note changed everything because that note was taken from the banks at interest for the government. So the government takes the notes, $100 in notes, got to pay them X amount of money in gold, and of course inflation happens, and of course if you're borrowing money, because this is all that was going on then, they're borrowing money from Britain. That's all that was going on, and this shows you who owns the United States. People think it's China. Sure, China has a little bit part to do with it. The elites of the world have a little something to do with it. But where it ultimately stems from is the Rothschilds banking system. The Rothschilds truly rule everything. What rules everything? Money. And if you have your governments in debt to you, you run shit. So the government had to formulate a way to pay back this debt. If the bank gives the government $100,000 and it is expected to pay back $150,000, it's impossible. It can never happen, right? It can never happen. You can't come up with 50 grand from nothing. You only got 100 grand. How are you going to give them 150 grand? You can't do it. So they had to create a collateral. What is that collateral? That collateral is you and me, right? So in 1913, they made slavery legal again under the guise of money. Why is that important? I'll tell you exactly why that's important. They own all the land. They own all the people. They don't want immigrants. Immigrants cost them money. So, if immigration came in, or births, like human births from our own country, the problem here is that in that time period, politicians need to spend more money. And they've already fucking taxed us 50% of everything we earn and spend it. Total. 50% of everything that goes in your hands, 50% of it is taken. At what point are we going to stop? Well, they can't still keep going. When is it going to be? 99%? Then you get fucking little sprinkles of, penny dust, copper dust. And you're like, oh, well, hey, it is what it is. They pretty much stopped and put a cap on it being 50%. It's been this way for a decade, probably a little more. And they want it right there because that's just enough where they know that, wow, this is more than half. I just made $500 this week. I just had to give up $250. They want it to seem less than half. So it all adds into about half. And every dollar that is put into circulation gets taxed 10 times that amount. So $10 gets taxed off of every dollar while it's in circulation. Watch my video, Taxation is Theft. Now, if they are taxing you, and that's the cap that they can tax you on, any more immigrants or children that are coming in this world or in this country gets resources taken from the politicians, from the government, from the bankers. Those resources get extracted from them and given to these immigrants and new babies. This is why they want immigration laws, and this is why they have two sides of the spectrum. They have the right wing, immigration laws, left wing, abortions, yeah. Things are making sense yet? Okay. So, how I look at things is that there's a valid reason why they don't want those Mexicans to be crossing an imaginary border on a big fucking rock shooting through space at 20,000 miles an hour or whatever it is. There's a reason. Now, unlike what their hysteria and their ideologies or what you've heard from the fucking TV screen, because this is where you get it from, you don't get this in real life. You catch this shit on the TV screen. Well, if the Mexicans come over, well, they have a rape culture. Oh, if the Mexicans come over, they're going to have... I have never... Now, don't get me wrong, there are fucking weirdos in every culture, in every race, ethnicity, every creed, every religion, everything. There's going to be weirdos. That's life. That's humanity. There's going to be weirdos no matter what. So, my analogy before, which was, it takes a large population of people, just because 2% of them did something wrong, everyone's scared of that area. Now, if a lot of Mexicans come in, yes, you're going to get 2% or whatever that is. Whatever that is. I don't have the facts on me. But I'm pretty confident it's not 50% or anything like that. Just say 2% of those people might commit a crime. Might not be good for our society, let's just say. Even though I don't like to think on the collective, because the collective, for example, if everyone's going down the right path, the path toward the right side, I'm going down the left path. I don't follow the crowd. I'm intelligent. I'm an adult. I don't need the government to tell me what I should or should not do, or how much money they can steal from me. I'm not okay with that. I'm an adult. I make adult decisions, ethic, moral decisions. Ethical, not ethic. I want to be prosperous in my life the way I want to be prosperous. Those Spanish people, Mexican people, should easily be able to come across that border without border patrol. I don't see a problem. They come here, they want to be prosperous, and even if, for whatever reason, 100% of Mexicans came up to the United States, what's going to happen to Mexico? Well, they're going to have to up their ante on trying to keep them down in Mexico. Mexico is actually a pretty beautiful country. They're going to have to do twice as much to try to keep their population down there, right? So it seems to me like the freedom of travel is good. The only ones who are scared of it are people that cannot logically think for themselves. For example, did you hear any of my talking points before? No, I bet you didn't. Why? Because this isn't the shit you hear on TV. This isn't the shit you're going to hear on a podcast. That's why this is the mind of Opex. This is shit that enters my mind through reason and evidence, philosophy, science, just an all in all logical understanding, fabrication of understanding through real fucking life. Not some woo. Is that how I'm talking to you? Woo. I'm giving you fucking facts, fucking information. Feel me? Now, again, Mexicans go through the border, no problem for me. freedom of travel, do what you want. I want to go down to Mexico. I know what you guys are saying. Oh, it's scary down there. Watch my other videos. There's reasons why you, as a white person, might get robbed in Mexico. Not every white person gets robbed in Mexico. Anyways. Freedom of travel is fine. Mexicans go up to Arizona or something. They find a nice plot of land. I'm in New Mexico right now. They just look at a plot of land. They contact the seller. They purchase it. Let them do it. They want to work, maybe create their own business. Let them do it. They might do something that is a lot better than what's orchestrated through society now in our country. What they can do is a lot better. When they get an opportunity, they'll take it, right? First off, get rid of government. You would never be scared about Mexicans. Here's the thing. They come up here and they want to be prosperous. Okay? They create a business. Get government out of the equation. They don't have to pay for a license, a permit, none of that shit. They create something, and it's valuable. And people drive by and go, oh, let me check this out. And they're like, oh my God, this is so much better than the United States that, you know, a t-shirt might be 20 bucks. Might have cost 50 cents to make, but hey, cost you 20 bucks inflation. That Mexican comes up, 10 bucks. Oh, I just saved 50% on the exact same item. Come on. If government was out of the equation, everyone would be working. And if you didn't work, that's fine. Then you have someone in your loved one's family taking care of you. And if they don't take care of you, like the Christians used to say to me when I was growing up, if you don't work, you don't eat. All right? It's the circle of life. It's called being an adult. No one needs to baby you through life. Get a firearm. Learn how to protect your property. You don't need to hope that 911, yeah, I know you're 30 miles away, and I know that, you know, your guys are lazy and slow, and it'll take them about an hour to get here, but yeah, I'm getting robbed right now, yeah, this guy's killing my wife right now, yeah, I'm just gonna wait for you. No. Fucking grow a fucking set of balls, be a fucking man, protect your shit. Don't be scared of a Mexican coming up here. Because if they step foot on my property, I don't care what race they are, they better fucking tell it like it is. Tell me what, straight to the point. And if you're going to continue to be a threat, you're going to be dead. Alright? A threat's a threat. I don't care what race you are. Right? So, they want to come up in this country. Now, I'm on the edge of population control and depopulation and shit like that. I'm on the edge there because I think there are too many people, and I think there's a video that's going to be coming about depopulation in the next coming weeks. I have tons more content coming, but all in all, if you get the government out of the equation, the problem isn't going to be what you thought the problem was. The problems are going to show themselves that it was government the whole time. Peter Schiff, he's a pretty popular businessman, multimillionaire, pretty much famous because of his economics and his business, and he's a millionaire. He's about 1%. He's the top 1% of 1% in terms of wealth. Get over, fucking dumbass truck. I hate people like that. Peter Schiff did one of those. He went down there to the Occupy Wall Street movement or whatever it was, and he goes down there and he explains to people over and over, you have this problem, I'll get government out of there, problem solved. And he'll explain it to them very logically, understanding of economics, business and all that shit. Oh, he wants me to get over real quick, but he takes an hour to get over for me. Oh. All right, so Peter Schiff is saying, hey, I would hire you, but the government makes it hard for me to hire you because I have to pay for all your insurance. I have to pay for all your shit, all the liability shit. I'm going to pay for all your taxes. That's why I can't pay for you. I'd like to pay all my guys $100,000 a year paychecks. But, I mean, if they're worth $200,000 and they're making me $200,000 worth of dollars, I'll gladly give you $150,000 that year. You know, if you just made me $50,000, and that's it. And I'm happy with that. Want to know why? Because we're all happy and we're doing business and we're all making money. But the government comes in, steals 50% of my money, steals 50% of your money, and gives me all these taxes and regulations that I got to pay for that, and all these liability issues and all these insurance issues. No wonder I can barely pay a couple guys $50,000 a year. It's not on me. I'd go broke if I gave you 60. Right? Once you wake up, it's all the fucking government doing this to you, and they keep telling you through the TV that it's the opposite. They're playing opposite day. Remember being kids? You might hit someone and the person would be like, I didn't hit you. Oh, what is the opposite day? I don't know. That was a bad example. But you are basically being lied to by the exact people that are the problem. If there's an institution out there that's stealing all your resources and under the threat of, jail or a prison or a gun, death, and they're stealing all your shit and making sure that your life is not going to be prosperous, you think this mafia would be the good guys? That this is an organization that plainly is the enemy. Clear as day. The enemy. And you think that they are trying to fight for you? No. They are trying to fight for you. What a moron to ever believe the fucking figurehead on TV. Whether that be a Fox anchorman, or if that's fucking Donald Trump, or if that's fucking whoever. Doesn't matter. You think that person is the spokesperson to help you? No. Their job is to make you okay with how much they're fucking cramming their fucking fist up your ass. As long as you're happy with that, take it like a taxpayer. I'm okay with this because the woman on the TV made it sound pleasant. Because it's for the sake of Mexican people. It's to save our children. Okay. Because she said something, or he said something, makes everything okay. And welcome. That 6-inch dildo is going to turn into an 18-inch, which is going to turn into a 6-foot dildo, which is going to turn into a nuclear fucking bomb shoved up your ass. Because you're too dumb to realize the real problem. Yes, you're dumb. You think that wall is helping you. You're a fucking moron. You're a fucking moron. If you change the way you think, the things you look at will start to change. Think for yourself. Don't use talking points from CNN and Fox News to justify the fucking fist up your ass. Fucking morons. So I had to get this video out of the way, just because I was in El Paso. I'm seeing beautiful, kind-hearted people everywhere I went. Even the cholos were fucking acting nice. But, hey, they're the problem, right, morons? Alright. Stay tuned for more content. Plenty more coming. See you guys.